basically the first question we got in was how can a company best identify the potential per channel, it's a long sentence by the way, before deciding which channels to invest their time and money in. So basically, how do you look at what is the best channel in terms of social, and are there specific rules that you follow? I don't know who wants to start on this.
Sure. I guess my response to that would really be starting with the objectives that you want to achieve, right? Again, I'm surprisingly less familiar with social media outside of China as I am inside China, but depending on like inside of China, for instance, if your goals are reach and awareness, right? You might choose things like some of the video channels, Weibo. If it's more about engagement, collecting fans, and then transacting and activation of purchase, that sort of thing, like something like WeChat or the e-commerce sites are much better channels for you. And I think the same things apply outside of China as well, with the difference, I think Facebook being slightly more engagement driven, where Twitter would be more about kind of reach and pushing things out. I think there's also distinct differences between types of social media. I mean, we see with fashion clients, for instance, Instagram is top of their list, right? When you get into B2B, obviously there's different social media, LinkedIn, etc.
Yeah, for me, I'll agree with Chris because I have been working with different clients and now I'm working in-house. Most of the times we'll forget about the objectives we're after. So like previously when I was getting the brief from the client, I'll ask them whether the objectives is to drive sales or to drive brand awareness or to drive buzz. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing, is driving sales, just at which point of contact you are going to do that. But at Holt, because we're the Hong Kong office, we're overseeing Asia Pacific, so we do a landscape assessment per region. Like, because Japan, Korea, they are very developed countries, and China is growing. And like Southeast Asia, like Thailand, you have great language barrier, and Filipino, they speak English, but they are not really, well, the channels you have to be on there to reach out to them will be different. So in Holt, we actually do the assessment for per region, and we like different messaging apps for us. Then we decided which channels we will go. Like for China, we do WeChat, Weibo, and other 10 social media. And in Korea, we do Naver. So it really depends on which region and what are the most popular channels those people are using.
Yeah, I'd probably drill deeper further and understand more about, like, is it a product that's driven by some interest around fashion and style?
Yeah.
Right. If it's much more utility based, I'd probably look at, just shooting from the hip. I'd probably look at Facebook as primary medium. If it's not really fashion driven, if it's a bit more fashion driven, I might look at something like Instagram, right? Yeah. I think Twitter is. I think Twitter's somewhat more difficult for new companies to build up following and grow with, right? From the experience I've had with it,
Yeah.
Facebook feels like a better channel for that. And I also think for a lot of, if you're selling a product, their ability to kind of purchase directly from the media itself is great because you're building up an audience and you can convert people as you go. I think that's a nice feature to have as a complement to the awareness that you're building in there, right?
Yeah.
I also think for new products, I think things like Kickstarter, Indiegogo are just an incredible way to start, because that gives you a running start out of the gate, and you're collecting a group of users that kind of gets you past that first hurdle of getting some real fans and advocates on your side. So in it, like a new product, I would start there and then work forward through Facebook, and if you can produce some great fun viral videos, then look at maybe some of the kind of seeding them into other channels. Sorry, I hope that helps a bit more.
Okay, let's say somewhat. Let's say
Right.
you think a lot of your consumers might be in Instagram,
Yeah.
but you're not entirely sure. Who might also be hanging around in Facebook or some other channel.
Yeah.
How do you actually test it? How would you go about testing that? Is there
Well,
some,
yeah. I mean, look and find out where you know, Lululemon is, right?
right?
If you're doing that.
Right.
You know, the thing with something like Instagram though is that you know, a lot of the content you create for social network should be native, so it should kind of fit in the context of that app, right? And if you're doing Instagram all the time, you have to be prepared to come up with awesome visual content on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, Facebook allows you a bit more scope to do different things, right? So but look for where the big players in your market are.